What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Justin Ford podcast, where I'll be releasing life-changing principles and valuable information focused on all things faith, finance, family, fitness, real estate, and so much more. Let's go! What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Justin Ford Unleashed podcast. Super excited to be with you here again today. I hope you've been doing great since the last episode. And if you're loving the show, guys, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button right here on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. And if you're really loving the show, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review. If you haven't followed me yet on social media, you can at the official Justin Ford. Again, at the official Justin Ford. You can find me here on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, and even on what's the other one called? Instagram. I almost forgot about that one. And this is live, so we don't make mistakes and stop. We keep going. But before we get into today's episode, guys, we have an incredible show for you today. I want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by my friends over at Next Door Lending. Next Door Lending is a team of professionals that believe everyone should be treated as if they live next door. The founders and team members have more than 150 years of combined loan experience, helping clients all over the country choose the best loan program to help you accomplish your goals. Next Door Lending is currently licensed in 26 states and has a team of over 100 loan officers specializing in helping you get the best rate and terms. Whether you're looking to refinance your home or you're looking to purchase your next home, call my friends over at Next Door Lending today at 888-885-3667 or visit their website at nextdoorlending.com. You know, guys, as you know, anytime I bring guests into the studio, it's to talk about some incredible stuff. And I've got 3 incredible guests in the studio today, and we've got an incredible episode in store for you. And so please help me welcome to the show, Shawn Williams, my brother from another mother, Jermaine Golden, and LaTreasa Blackmon. Did I say it right?
You got it.
I got it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Man, excited to have you guys here.
Absolutely. I must have did something right because you invited me back. So
yeah, well, you there's an open door for you, brother, anytime.
Hey, I appreciate that.
And for those of you guys that didn't listen to the episode, we had an incredible episode with Shawn and Jonathan Haddad several months back.
Yeah.
Shawn is not only a near and dear brother and friend to me of 20 years.
Yeah.
Shawn's also in the real estate business, so he's a business partner.
Absolutely.
He's he's in the mortgage business. He's the head of the diversity and inclusion over at Next Door Lending.
I am. And don't forget community engagement.
And community engagement, which is huge. And you've always been that guy.
Yeah.
And the founder of 100 Black Agents, which we're going to be talking about today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Justin, for having me here.
Yeah.
It's always exciting to really do anything with you.
Oh, man.
You know, we go back 20 years.
20.
So, you know,
2
lots
decades.
of stories we could tell.
Oh, tons.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
God is faithful.
Amen. Jermaine, business partner.
Yes, sir.
Here at EXP. Excited to have you on the show. First time.
Yes.
Yep.
Glad to be here.
And LaTreasa, who is also in EXP.
Absolutely.
We're not actual business partners, but we are, because the beautiful thing about EXP is we're an agent-owned company, and we are all shareholders. So when you win, I win. And when I win, you win. Therefore, we win together.
Absolutely.
That's exciting. Well, guys, excited to have you on the show today. You know, there's a lot to talk about, but because, Jermaine, you're new to the show, and LaTreasa, you're new to the show, I want to hear a little bit about your background. What got you into real estate? Share with the listeners. Jermaine, actually, we're going to go ladies first.
Yes.
Oh.
We're going to go ladies first.
I get the honors.
Yeah. So LaTreasa, I've had the opportunity to get to know you, and you know, I've learned some incredible stuff about you, that you're not just a real estate agent, you're also an appraiser, right, of a select few group in the state of Michigan, which is what we're going to talk about today. Talk to us about your background. How long have you been in real estate? How did you get into real estate? And what do you, and how did you become an appraiser?
So where do I begin?
Yeah.
So I have been in real estate since 2016.
Nice.
I came into real estate. I used to be a corporate girl.
Yeah.
Grew up in the corporate world. Started working for a Fortune 500 company when I was 15 years old.
Wow.
And as I was continuing my education, I continued to climb the corporate ladder. I was the youngest VP in the company.
Wow.
Was running $1 million buildings at 24 years old.
Wow.
Blessings.
Yeah.
But work-life balance was terrible.
Oh yeah. That corporate
So,
life is different.
It was. Checks was good.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Yep.
Checks was nice.
Yeah.
But my family suffered in
Yeah.
that. And I wanted to do something where I could be successful and prosperous, both inside and outside my household.
Yeah.
So I made the change, and I actually was an investor before I was an agent.
Wow.
And I flipped my first house, and I made a little change.
Nice.
And the whistles went off and said, "Oh, this might be the shift."
Yeah.
But more importantly, I seen so much with working in the corporate world of how so many people were living but not thriving. And I wanted to be able to go into a field where I can make a difference and impact not just one person, but generations to come. And real estate was the avenue that I chose. So I continue to be an investor, have several investment properties still to this day, multifamilies, things such as that. I've got about 38 doors at this time.
Wow.
And also an associate broker at EXP. And then
EXP's in the house.
EXP's in the building. And then after that, I continue to see, especially when the market started to shift right before COVID, how so many times I would see appraisals and so many agents that I was connected to would be so complex on how we came to this number.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about appraising is that the average age of an appraiser right now is 72 years old.
Wow.
72.
Wow. Why do you think that is?
Comparing appraising to getting your real estate license, completely different.
It takes a long time to get your appraiser's license and actually get certified,
It's
right?
no joke.
No joke.
It is no joke. So because of that, and because you have to have so many hours of training underneath another appraiser.
What's the actual hours?
You have to have, there's 4 levels of appraising.
Okay.
And in order to get to certified, which is the top level, you've got to have over 2,000 hours.
Working under somebody else.
Working under someone else.
That's a lot of hours.
Wow.
Not getting paid.
Not getting paid.
Right.
That's why the average age is 72.
But then you got to find someone to train you.
Right.
And they're not getting paid to train you either.
And that's, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So because of that,
Yeah.
I said we needed to make a difference. And there's been so much conversation, even at the federal level, regarding appraisals.
Yep.
That I said this is the opportunity for me to, be boots on the ground, and it truly helped me be a better agent as well.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like completely from a listing perspective. Like
I love
completely
that.
changed it.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I got into appraising and life changing.
That's awesome. And do you primarily do just like residential homes, or do you vacant land? Is it a combination of both?
It's everything.
You do everything.
It's vacant land. It's residential. It's commercial.
Wow.
So it's everything included.
I heard you can get paid a pretty penny doing commercial appraisals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I heard I've heard commercial appraisals be like $5,000, whereas like a standard residential is what, like 500?
Standard residential is 500, but when you start getting into duplex, multifamily,
It goes up.
it goes up.
Yeah.
You need it a little quicker. It
Yeah.
goes up.
I've had people ask me like, Justin, why don't you get your appraiser's license? I'm like, I'm not trying to work 2,000 hours and not get paid. I don't have time for that. But I love what you said, because, what happens if the average age of the appraisers is 72? I mean, sooner than later, these guys are gone, right?
Absolutely.
And there has to be a whole new next level of people stepping up to the plate. And so that's exciting that you're taking that on. Now, when you say there's some changes happening at the federal level, do you think they're going to lower the requirements to get in, or
what they're trying to do right now is the biggest thing is that people can't find trainers. So
that's the main thing. And I know you've touched on some of
so
that
people
stuff.
haven't been. So what they're trying to do right now is go a more digital route, so that you can get all your training done by a virtual or kind of a computer generated training
program. Yeah. That makes sense.
Because then you can, be in the field, but still be able to get that opportunity to do so.
Yeah, because I don't know of any other license that I know of that you actually have to be trained by someone and put in a bunch of hours to be certified. Everything else is pretty much a course, right?
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, that's exciting. And so what would you say, like how many appraisals would you say you're doing versus, like, do you do appraising more, real estate more, combination of both?
It's a combination of both.
Yeah.
So obviously I have other agents on my team.
Yep.
So I refer out a lot of my deals right now. But you got those clients and those referrals, like, don't refer me out. I need you.
Yeah. Yep.
And I appreciate those referrals. Keep them coming.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the good thing about an appraisal is that I can do something, and when I'm done with that transaction that day, it's not waiting 30 days, 45 days to get paid. Once I'm done, it's a pretty good process.
That's awesome. And I know, oftentimes as a real estate agent, you have people who want to get their property appraised, right? Because we, as agents, we do the market analysis or the CMA. But I always say, in a more complex situation, I say it's good to have an appraiser, come in and appraise the property. Yeah. And I always say it should be arm's length, meaning, not, if you really want to know the true value of your property, I tell a homeowner, get an appraiser. Don't tell them what you want or think it should be worth. Just let them come in and do their job. And I've referred a handful of clients to you because for a long time I didn't have an appraiser that I could refer to that I knew and trusted would get the job done, because I'm very careful about referring other services to people, because if the ball is dropped on their end, it's a direct reflection on us as real estate agents. But when I had the chance to get to know you and know you were an appraiser, I'm like, that's my girl. Anytime somebody needs an appraisal, you're the one.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Much appreciate. And this is the thing, is that with the market being not as much available, right? Not as many comps to be able to find how to price the home.
Yep.
It's even more better and more efficient to get an appraisal done on the front side, because a lot of times agents, we don't get taught in school, in class, how to, what an appraiser looks at.
Right.
So what we look at may be completely different from what an agent assumes is supposed to be considered when running comps.
So I have a question.
Okay. On the record or off the record?
No, on the record. If that's the case, because what you just said made a lot of sense, would you be open to doing a Zoom? If I could gather a bunch of real estate agents together and have you on as the presenter to teach agents what appraisers look at and how it could potentially benefit real estate agents to know the process a little bit better and get you some more business?
Were you in my prayers last night?
No.
Okay.
But that literally just dropped in my just dropped in my spirit when you were saying that.
No, it's interesting because that's one of the things that I want to be a blessing to other agents. And so I'm right there, even with how to challenge an appraisal.
I love it.
They don't know where to go or where to start. And they're like, oh, there's no point because we're never going to win. But as I was speaking a couple weeks ago, there's an appraisal that I just got bumped up over $75,000 because of the errors in the report from another appraiser.
Wow.
And so, yes,
we're doing that.
Happy.
Let's do that. Seriously, I think that would be huge.
I can do that.
And we can do it as like a Q&A and obviously have you present, and then if any of the agents have questions, because I think that would be super beneficial.
I can handle it.
I know I got some questions. For sure. For sure.
Of course.
Yeah. That's solid. Awesome. Yeah. Jermaine.
Yes, sir.
My man.
Yes, sir.
When did you get into real estate? What brought you into real estate?
Ooh, it's been a journey.
It always is, isn't it?
It's been a journey. I've been in real estate coming up on 5 years. A little bit about my background. So I started off in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
I have a degree in film. I write, direct, produce stage plays, films, music videos. That's what I was doing majority of my life.
Yeah.
But being in the entertainment business, I seen a lot.
Yeah.
And I noticed I feel like I was going in circles. And I know I wanted a change. So most of my life I was doing security while I work in the entertainment business. Yep. And one day my mother was like, you should get into banking. So I ended up at TCF Bank as a teller.
Okay.
I was there for like a year and a half. Then I decided I wanted to move up. So I applied for a personal banker position at Chase Bank. Mm-hmm. I was at Chase Bank for almost 3 years. I was one of the Chase Bank top banker. In my district, I was always in the top 3.
Nice.
In the country, I was always in the top 200.
Wow.
You know, Chase is a huge company.
Major.
I wanted to get into real estate, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
Chase wouldn't allow me to do real estate and work there at the same time. It was a conflict of interest for them. Yep. One day, Chase fired me.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was a door that God was trying to close that I wasn't going to close myself.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, don't nobody want to get fired from a job.
Right.
Around that time, I was with my my ex-wife now, and we just literally got married.
Yeah.
It was like 2 months into our marriage, I got fired.
Yeah. Literally every W-2 job I ever worked, I got fired. Every single one. And Taco Bell hired me and fired me 4 different times.
That's crazy.
So, I know the feeling.
That's crazy. So yeah, that's when I decided to get into real estate. Ended up registering for a class.
Yeah.
Took my class in 1 week and got my real estate license.
Wow.
Around that time, I started working for Michigan First Credit Union as a banker.
Yep.
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
When I was there, I was really wanting to focus on building my real estate career, but I couldn't do both at the same time because the way Michigan First was, my hours, I had to work from like 9 a.m. to like 7 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have time to do real estate.
Nope.
So I couldn't pull on my phone. I had leads coming in, and I just got my license.
Yeah.
It was frustrating. And they had me working at a branch that was like inside of a Walmart. It was a brand new branch.
Wow.
So most of the time, I'm just standing there and doing nothing.
Yeah.
The whole time. I couldn't put my phone out. So I'm frustrated, like, I can't keep doing this.
Right. Right.
I told one of my coworkers, I'm like, I feel like I'm a high-paid greeter at this point.
Right.
Because basically I'm just greeting people that's walking past in Walmart all day.
Right. Yeah.
So one day, two situations happened. I was in the process of doing my first open house. And me and my branch manager was working on a Saturday. And she tells me, because it's just me and her working, because typically it's supposed to be 3 people working on a weekend,
Yep.
I couldn't leave the branch for my on my lunch break. So I'm like, I just need to run up the street. I was at Keller Williams at the time, pick up these flyers for my open house, and then come back. She told me I couldn't leave. So I'm like, it's my lunch break. Why I can't leave on my lunch break?
Yeah.
So she ended up calling the vice president. She was like, well, he said you got 20 minutes. So they gave me 20 minutes to go down to Keller Williams and come right back.
Wow.
So I'm like, all right. So I really have to think what I want to do.
Right.
And it was in my spirit. I'm like, I'm going to have to take a leap of faith and quit my job to do real estate for a time because I can't do both.
No.
So the week I was looking to quit my job, the vice president and the branch manager had a meeting with me. And they said, we feel like you focus on real estate more than the company.
Yeah.
And the vice president asked me, no, he told me, he said, we expect for all our employees to put the company first.
Yeah.
He asked me, he said, do you put us first? I told him no. So he looked at me, he was like, wow, I wasn't expecting that answer.
Yeah.
So then he tells me, it sounds like you have some soul searching to do.
Okay. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
They asked that question and then tell you that
Exactly.
you have some soul searching to do.
Exactly.
Could you have said, I put God first? Nothing comes I mean, come on, man.
Company or nothing.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
So
Corporate world.
exactly.
Yep.
It's the
Yep.
corporate world.
Yeah.
So 2 days later, I put my 2-week notice in.
Yeah.
Good for you.
And I said, I'm going to take a leap of faith. I'm going to walk by faith.
Yep.
God is going to see me through this.
Yep.
And I didn't have no foundation. Like, I probably had a little to nothing saved up at the time. I'm like, it's going to be a faith walk right now.
Yeah.
So I think it was a week before my last day. The vice president came up to me and he was like, real estate is hard. If you ever want to come back, we got a job for you.
Wow. They were planting the doubt.
And I'm like, I refuse to ever clock a clock
Right.
for someone. After that comment, I said, yes, I'm going to walk by faith and
Yep.
I'm going to grind it out.
Yep.
So I quit the job and what I ended up start working for DTE with my father and my brother-in-law and my ex-wife.
Yep.
Where we can make our own hours at.
Yeah.
So we was planning at Oakland Mall kiosk, and I took that time to pass my business card out.
Yeah.
While working for DT at the
There
same
you go.
time. And then on the weekends, I was driving for Uber.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm gonna grind. So anybody that got in my car,
Yep.
I was giving them my car.
Yep.
And it took me 6 months to close my first deal.
Yeah.
And during those 6 months, I was studying. I was going to classes.
Yep.
I was doing my own research on real estate. I closed my first deal 6 months after I got my license, and it was like a domino effect.
Yeah.
My first year, I did 39 closings.
Man.
Killing it.
Love it.
Killing it.
Love it.
39 closings.
Love it. Love
so that's when I realized, I'm like, okay, I love real estate.
Yep.
And I have a passion for this. I want to continue to grow this.
Yep.
And at the time, when I started my career, I was actually on a team. So I took the time to learn a lot while I was on a team.
So important.
And then I decided to start my own team.
Yep.
Started my own team. I think my first year on my team, we did 100 closes my first year on my team.
Wow. That's
so,
awesome.
So now, me as an individual agent, I average about 60 to 70 deals a year now.
It's amazing.
Nice.
I love it, man. And you know what's awesome, and I appreciate you sharing that part of your story, because I think most of the time people look at real estate or getting into real estate as if it's just like what they show you on HGTV. Like you're going to get in and this and that. But, man, it's a grind. And I tell agents, like, you're going to have to do, especially if you can't just jump into real estate day one without having to work another job. I tell people, like, you're going to have to grind, and it's going to be a sacrifice. But once you get that going, like you said, that domino effect, man, there's no looking back.
Exactly.
I love it, man.
Exactly. So yeah, I just been building from there. Came over to EXP.
Yes, sir.
Became a 2-time Icon agent. I was glad to come back to EXP to partner with Justin and Shawn.
Yep.
And building out, we're building out. So I'm excited to be back.
Oh, yeah.
Icons in the building.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I just hit it for the third time last week. So,
Congratulations.
yeah,
Congrats.
thank you.
Outstanding.
Yeah, so, you know, the thing that I love about EXP is it's a connection factor. You know, it allows people to connect and collaborate like I've never seen in any other company. And, you know, to just piggyback off of what Jermaine said, and then Shawn, I want to hear from you is, you know, when I was looking at EXP back in 2020, it was like 1920, you were one of the first people I had talked to, and you were interested in joining me if I signed up, but I just, you know, God's timing wasn't right for me. So I waited another year to get into EXP, and you're like, I can't wait a year, bro. Like, I want to work with you, but I'm not waiting a year. So you got into EXP, and then I got in. And you know what was interesting was I was always following your journey, man, and I seen you killing. I'm like, man, I wish Jermaine was in my organization like what we initially planned. And then last year, maybe it was at the beginning of the year, out of the blue, I think it was December.
Yep.
Jermaine hits me up. He's like, bro, I don't know if you know, but I left EXP, and I'm going to be gone for 6 months because I want to come back with you. And I'm like, Lord, you heard my prayers.
There you go again.
Yeah, there you go again. Because I knew that we could do some big things together, and you came back. And then, you know, in the time frame of you coming back, you obviously got a chance to meet Shawn.
Yep.
And since then, there's some really incredible things going on.
Definitely.
Incredible. More than just real estate.
Oh,
Definitely. Bigger.
Yeah, way bigger.
I literally talk to this guy 3-4 times a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I love it.
Like, and I don't know who's calling who the most, but you know, it doesn't even matter, man. Like we literally talk 3-4 times a day.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just become a brother to me in such
Yep.
a short amount of time.
Yep.
And, so
Yeah.
we're all extremely excited about the future. So.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So speaking of that, you know, Shawn, obviously you and I have known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
And we've had so many conversations about so many things.
Yeah.
But a couple of years ago, you came to me and you were talking about this vision that God gave you
I did.
called 100 Black Agents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why don't you share the vision of 100 Black Agents and really how that came about?
Well, honestly, it really just started from a conversation.
Yeah.
And you know, contrary to what most people might believe, Justin Ford was actually, I honestly think he was the first person that I talked to about 100 Black Agents, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, just that kind of evolved just as it relates to just the proximity of how close we are.
Yep.
And I shared it with Justin, you know, 3 years ago. And Justin was like, bro, whatever you need from me, like, let me know.
Yep.
Like, you know, I'm there. Like, I think that's a great idea. Anything I can do to support it, you know, I'll be there.
Yes, sir.
And 3 years later, you know, we incorporated it. We did our first signature event, the Black Agent Expo, that just took place on September 7th.
Yes, sir.
At the United Wholesale Mortgage Sports Complex and Conference Center. It was an absolutely amazing event. We had speakers coming in from all over the country.
Top speakers, too.
Top speakers, including our very own LaTreasa Blackmon, who graced the stage during our panel discussion.
LaTreasa.
I see. I have a habit of calling you.
Just stick to LT.
Just say LT.
It's LaTreasa.
LT.
Yeah. So if you ask me how to spell it, I can spell it. So I just can't pronounce it.
That's funny.
Right. But just so many great individuals that supported the event. We had over 200 Black real estate agents
From all over the country.
From all over the country
Yep.
that came in.
Yep.
Shout out to United Wholesale Mortgage for their contribution.
Yep.
Class Valuations. Title Solutions, all these companies
Next
came
Door
in.
Lending.
Next Door Lending, absolutely. Next
Yep.
Door Lending
Yep.
was our presenting sponsor.
Yep.
Just an amazing event, and being able to bring so many great people together. The whole concept of the event was to network, connect, and build, right?
Yep.
And that really takes me back to 100 Black Agents. And
Yep.
you asked the question, well, what is 100 Black Agents about?
What is it about, and why did it start?
It really started just from just me kind of going around and talking to Black real estate agents and asking the question, I would ask the question periodically, who is the top Black real estate agent in this region? And
Yep.
in most cases, when I would ask, Black real estate agents, they didn't know.
Right.
So it kind of started just from, wanting to bring everyone together to kind of just share best practices. Right.
Yep.
And Justin and I, we've had this conversation, before. You've had an opportunity to be part of some of my minority agent exposure events that I've done at Next Door Lending.
Yeah.
So there's a difference. There's different challenges that Black real estate agents face. I'm not going to say just Black, but just minority agents in general face when it comes to, being an agent in this marketplace, right? So, I wanted to create a platform where, at the very least, we could have these discussions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in hopes that, if we came together, we networked, we make some real connections, and then at some point we could build from that place moving forward, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it started. And what it's evolved into was really kind of out of my my purview at that time.
Yeah.
And we're just excited to really just, continue to build from, the infancy of what it started to what we believe is going to be moving forward. So.
And I had the opportunity and the privilege to be at the Black Agent Expo, and it was amazing. For a first-time event, it was incredible. And I know from here it just gets bigger and better.
Absolutely.
But one of the and I don't think it's ever been done before. I think that was the first really of its kind of something to that capacity, wasn't it?
You know what? It's interesting. Because I didn't really understand the magnitude of what we were doing. I mean, it was just something that God kind of put in my heart and my spirit, and I just did it.
Yeah.
But from what I'm hearing from other agents is that, obviously there are other conferences around the country, but in this region, there's been nothing like this.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the OG agents in our community have been saying, like, Shawn, you did something that no one really has done. And I'm like, really? And it really, again, I can't take credit for it because literally it was a collaboration of all the people that actually supported that. Jermaine was an ambassador. LaTreasa was an ambassador. I got that right this time, right? To all the other ambassadors, Jerry Anderson, Ed Butler, Reggie Perriman, Fee Gentry, who's my big sister. We've become incredibly close in a short amount of time as well. So it was really a credit to everybody working together, right? I believe that unity commands power, and that's something that we actually had in working with this event. And man, I just literally just watched God just kind of show up on that day, and people just started pouring in the doors, man. It was an amazing thing to be a part of.
It was. So. And what was awesome was it wasn't just even though we're all EXP agents here at the table, there was agents from every company that came. It wasn't company exclusive. I mean, it was agents from, independent brokerages, big, block brokerages, franchise, all the big everybody was there.
Everybody was there.
And it was amazing.
Everybody was there, and it was again. I mean, it was 200 agents, but it just felt like so much bigger.
Don't downplay it. It was great.
But listen, did it? We had 200 agents, but did it feel bigger than 200 agents? Like
because it is bigger than that.
Yeah,
it's bigger than 200 agents.
Yeah, for sure.
It's bigger than Detroit.
Yeah,
it's bigger than us in the room. So at the end of the day, I agree. Don't downplay it.
Yeah.
It's the movement.
Yeah.
And what I can say and what I appreciate about it, it's really about take everything off the table.
Yeah.
And let's focus on improving the community.
Yeah.
And connecting with people, regardless of what brokers you're with.
Absolutely.
Regardless of your background.
Yep.
Regardless if you've been in the business 20 years or you've been in for 2 months.
Yeah.
Everyone has a seat at the table.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, one of the things that you touched on, Shawn, that was really eye-opening to me is when you did invite me to one of the minority meetings, and I just, you invited me and a couple of other white people into the room, right?
Yeah.
Just to listen in and hear, right?
Yeah.
And what's interesting is, to hear the stories of like what you were talking about, the challenges that minorities face in real estate are different, you know, than what, Caucasian white people experience.
Yeah.
I never knew that because when I'm in a room with minorities, I mean, my wife's a minority, most of my friends, like I see the ground as an even level playing field. That's how I see it.
Right.
But that's not how it really is.
Right.
And Shawn, you had to really challenge me and help me through this because to me, I've never seen color or minority as different.
Right.
Personally.
Yeah.
But when I sat back and heard some of the stories, even one that you shared the last time you were on the podcast was, when you pulled up into a driveway as a buyer's agent and you're sitting in your car waiting for your buyer to show up, somebody called the police.
Yeah.
Because you were black.
I mean,
right? I mean, just being real.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what it felt like to me.
Well, I'm sure.
Right.
And there's a chance that it might have happened, if it was a white person sitting in but probably not.
Right.
But probably not.
And again, I didn't have an opportunity to talk to the gentleman that actually called the police. I didn't really care to at that particular point in time. But that's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
And I've had countless conversations with other real estate agents, black real estate agents that have had similar encounters, So again, I think that, 100 black agents and what we stand for and what in essence, we're trying to bring these conversations to the forefront, right?
Yeah.
Let's figure out how we can work together to overcome these issues, to talk about some of these challenges that we're facing.
Yep.
But then not just dwell on the issues. Let's figure out some solutions. Like how can we, make things better for us out there? Because at the end of the day, we're just trying to take care of our families like everybody else, right?
And I appreciate you saying that because when you have an event that's called the Black Agent Expo, or when you have a, the 100 black agents that you're creating, in other people's minds that may not understand what you're doing, they might think that you're creating this segregated thing exclusive only for black agents, right?
Right.
And it could cause even maybe somebody that's listening right now on the outside to say, well, why does it have to be just black agents, right?
Sure.
Just like when the whole thing, that was going on with Black Lives Matter, there was a lot of, all lives matter,
right?
Or everybody's lives matter. And I think there's a misunderstanding because I didn't understand it either for a long time, that it's not about, all lives matter. It's not just about black. It's about what is really going on with the scenario and the situations that other people don't understand.
The injustices that are taking place amongst, blacks in this country.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's obvious that all lives matter.
Of course.
All animals matter. Right. But, the bald eagle is endangered.
Right.
Okay. So at the end of the day, by saying Black Lives Matter or putting a focus on, a particular, group that's underserved.
Right.
Again, we're not saying that everyone else doesn't matter. Other agents don't matter. We're just saying that, hey, listen, there are some unique challenges that are, inside of this particular group that we want to be able to address unapologetically. Right. Right. So, so that's really, if there's anyone that's confused about it, at the end of the day, listen, Justin Ford will vouch for me and I will vouch for him. We are brothers.
Yep.
We've had some tough conversations over the years, but again, it's through these conversations, it's through, connecting with people that don't look like you is where you can raise the level of consciousness, of the people that you're in connection with.
And I think it's so necessary. And I'd like for you guys to chime in on this
Please.
too, because several months back, after sitting in on one of the minority meetings, you had kind of, would you say? You kind of warned me going in, you know, what not to say and what not to do. Not that it was negative, but it was
more so I said, be careful.
Be careful. Not a
wanted,
warning, but
yeah,
be careful what you say and how
careful.
you do it. Because not everybody knows you, Justin, like I know you.
Exactly.
And so afterwards, you know, I kind of didn't listen to your be careful. And it wasn't that I was trying to prove anything. It was just me sharing my story with in that moment what I thought was right.
Yeah.
And afterwards we had a conversation and you had told me that there were some people in the room that felt like I didn't need to go there. Right. And it was just saying, hey, listen, you know, I don't see racism and I don't see all these things. And it was like, you didn't even need to go there. Just you being in the room was enough just to, even if it was just to sit and just listen.
Yeah.
But here's why that had to happen, because after that and after hearing, you know, some of the stories that were shared about, you know, the people that were in the room having difficulties just by being a black real estate agent, really spoke to me. And I went into prayer and I said, God, can you please reveal to me and show me what, you know, so I have an understanding. And when the Lord really revealed to me, you know, because we've heard all these terms like white privilege and all of these things like, you know, systematic racism and all this. And, you know, I think a lot of people think racism is just me not liking you because you're black and you not liking me because I'm white, but it's so much deeper than that.
Yeah.
And, you know, because one of my very best friends, Kimash, same conversations that I've been having with you is it's so much deeper than that. And I think that's where a lot of the divide is, that people don't really understand, you know, that look like me, what white privilege means. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And I think the difference with you, Justin, because we've had, just to put it out there, we've had some very detailed conversations.
We have.
And the thing that I love about Justin is that Justin really wanted to understand. Like, I mean, and I could tell in our conversation that you didn't understand.
Nope. And I think most people don't, Shawn.
I agree.
Right.
I really believe most people don't.
But here's the thing: is this you know, and this is kind of the challenge for you, Justin. You know, is that I can talk to people that look like you until, you know, I'm blue in the face. Okay. Seeds reproduce after their own kind, right? So at the end of the day, it's more your responsibility to educate them than it ever will be mine. Because truth be told, black people are tired of educating folk on what racism is.
Right.
Like, I mean, you know, I think that it takes somebody that looks like you that is vested and is willing, you know, to understand, to communicate to others why this is racist or why this shouldn't be said, so on and so forth. Whatever. But again, the thing that I love about you, because truth be told, you know, and again, like we're not only brothers, we're also friends, right? Yeah. You know, iron sharpens iron as a man sharpens the countenance of his friend, because of our relationship, and our proximity to each other and the level of intimacy that we have. I was able to sharpen you. And you received that correction. And I still have the voicemail on my phone today when you called me. And I could tell that, you know, God had dealt with you.
I was in tears, bro.
Literally, like
he
called me out. He said, bro, I get it. He's like, I had a conversation with Kimash, in addition to talking with you, and it just clicked. He said, I get it. And what's understood doesn't need to be explained. Right. You know, I sense that you got it. Yeah. And I think since then you've been a champion in our community and been an ally. Yeah. You know, at a much greater level because you get it.
Because I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So and again, look.
And I'm still learning.
Absolutely.
I don't have it
and
all,
that's the thing that I love about you, right? No,
but you're willing to learn. That's the key.
Yeah.
The willingness. And a lot of times it's not blatant racism.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's things that people don't even realize that they're doing that impact someone else.
Yeah.
And I'll call it what it is. There's not even just racism outside of the black community.
Right.
There's a whole lot inside of it.
Inside of it. Yeah.
Right.
And part of 100 Black Agents is talking about that as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because sometimes as a black person and as a woman as well, especially.
Yeah.
We're harder on each other than we are.
Oh, 100%.
You can be on us. So I think just having the conversation, being open to the conversation from a place of love, lead with love first. That's the biggest thing. Lead with love and give people grace.
Yeah.
I love what you're saying, LaTreasa, because I mean, and you guys know better than anybody. Like, I mean,
LaTreasa.
just
Sorry.
LT. All right.
LT.
So I love. Let's rewind it. LT. I love what you just said. Because again, you and Jermaine both know, like, just with some of the obstacles that we face in our own community, trying to do an event for people in our community.
Man,
like
the
I mean,
backlash and some of the stuff you got from people within your own community was crazy.
I mean, it was disturbing, you know. Right. But you know, here's the thing: is that this is one thing that I've learned is that one, light is always, will always dispel darkness.
Yep.
And love is always better than hate.
Yep.
Love always conquers hate. So
Absolutely.
if folk can hate for no reason,
right,
I can love for no reason.
Yep.
Because all I was trying to do was bring our community together.
Yep.
And the extent that some folk went to stop this event,
yep,
people that look like me,
yeah,
okay, was unreal. But again, like I said, if folk can hate for no reason, I can love for no reason, and love always conquers hate. And and we prevailed.
Yeah,
we prevailed.
Well, what I love too is what you guys both said is
Jermaine's laughing. I'm being cryptic, man. I
know. But it's the willingness, right? And I think that the media, the government, does a really good job at keeping people divided, and that's on purpose.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And if you can get people to, turn on people because of their different economic situation, their different race situation, because like you said, racism goes far beyond just color. Racism is division and me thinking I'm better than you based on this specific thing, and the enemy. Ultimately, we know from a spiritual standpoint, the enemy wants to divide people because the Bible says a house that's divided will not stand. So that means a people that's divided will not stand. Church that's divided will not stand. A government that's divided will not stand, because the enemy knows that if he can divide people based on any which way, there's no unity.
Yeah, he's the ultimate racist.
So. He is.
Definitely. I wanna touch on one of my experience with dealing with racism.
Yeah.
So when I first got into real estate, as I mentioned before, I was on an actual real estate team. And so my team leader would generate leads for the team and everything.
Yep.
Me and another guy on my team started to notice that he will only give us Detroit leads.
Yeah.
Like, only give us Detroit leads.
Right.
And when we ask for other leads outside of Detroit, they tells us it's harder to get those leads. Mm-hmm. But we see other people that's not the same race as us getting those leads.
Right.
And so we made the best of it. Yeah. So we figure out how to make money in Detroit. Yep. And I end up becoming the number one agent on his team.
Yes, sir.
And my homeboy ended up becoming the number two agent on his team. But I think at some point I was kind of blind to it until I actually witnessed it myself and went through that myself. Yep. And I remember I ended up getting a listing in Novi. Mm-hmm. And the guy who was the ISA agent over there asked me, "How did you get that listing?" Mm-hmm. And I'm like, "I got this listed on my own." Right. But it made me feel like that because I wasn't a certain color, I didn't deserve that type of listing. Yeah. So yeah, I experienced it, and I think my eyes opened up then.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm sure there's a ton of those stories, because one of the things that really hit me was in the meeting that we had, the minority meeting that I was in. One of the ladies was like, I have to work 10 times harder than you just to get the same opportunity as you do, and that really hit me, because I'm like, man, I work pretty dang hard. And if someone has to work even harder to get the same opportunity, that's what it means when there's racism, right? And this is when the Lord revealed this to me, Shawn, and this really spoke to me. It was this, and when I talked to Kimash, is imagine feeling like or living like a second class citizen when you know you're not. Right. Like not having the exact same opportunities, not. And that blew me away because I couldn't comprehend that. And I never really understood
Yeah.
that's, you know, because what does the Bible say? God created all people equal. And I'm sure that's all people want to feel is just equal, not less than, not different. But look, we're all equal and we should all have the same opportunities despite the color of my skin.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. But I think that, you know, this is why it's important for, you know, us to come together in organizations like 100 Black Agents
Absolutely.
to collaborate with other organizations that have the same mission.
Yeah.
So we can, you know, bring some of these issues to the forefront.
Yeah.
And address, you know, things that need to be addressed in our community. So we can start lifting, you know, up those agents and people in this industry that are, are for that same mission and goal.
So my question is, and I want each of you guys to answer this, is how can people that look like me support 100 Black Agents, the Black Agent Expo, and come to the table with a willingness to say, how can we help? How can we support?
Well, obviously financial support. As always, appreciate it.
The checkbook.
Right.
No, but honestly, because to me, that's all that the goal is not to be segregated.
Sure.
The goal is to create unity.
Absolutely.
Because we're all, at the end of the day, remove color, skin, and all that. We're all real estate agents in the same industry with the same goal.
Yeah.
We want to take care of our families. We want to create success, and we want to serve people.
Yeah. Right. So, obviously, as I mentioned, financial, but beyond that, I think that, just being present.
Right.
One thing I want to share, and a lot of people didn't know this, at the Black Agent Expo, Justin Ford came up to me. He said, Shawn, what can I do to help? And, the thing that I love about you, Justin, is that you were willing to do the least of the jobs. Like literally, Justin Ford was there, again, top selling agent, top 1% in the country, sold 100 homes his first year, is literally at the Black Agent Expo greeting people as they were coming in the door, and to me that spoke volumes to me, just who you are as a person and as a brother, because it was a job that needed to be done. And, like I said, I just, that spoke to my heart that you were willing to do that. And obviously there were other things that you did, behind the scenes as well, but you were always there to lend a hand. But back to the original question. I think that, being there, spreading the word, spreading the message of 100 Black Agents and what we're about. I think, to have someone that looks like you do that supports it, because again, you're going to get at some level, maybe some ridicule, maybe some scrutiny, for supporting an organization like this. Right. People might not understand why you'd be supporting an organization like that, but just bringing them into an understanding, inviting them to the event so that they can see, hey, look, yes, this is not just about Black agents, although, the core of the issues that we're dealing with are centered around Black real estate agents, but we're looking for allies, right? We're looking for people that that understand, or at least are willing to understand, the plight and the issues that we have in this community, and are willing to support it any way that they can. So,
and I love what you said, because there's a lot of people who don't understand this issue and are not even willing to come to the table because of the backlash, because of this isn't an easy thing. This isn't easy. I mean, this has been going on for a long time, right? This topic that we're talking about. And so I think for some people, it's just easy to just not get involved at all. Yeah. Right. But I believe that this topic is something that we need to keep talking about.
Absolutely.
And if you're listening right now, and maybe this episode, because this episode could be considered controversial, right? It could be an uncomfortable
for you
topic.
I think.
More so than that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But or even people listening, like, man, that's But I want to encourage those that are listening, to have an open mind and come to the table with questions and look at how can we be in this together, right? Because I think what you said to me, Shawn, is if you're not a part of the solution, you're automatically a part of the problem.
Yeah, and absolutely. I think 100%. I couldn't agree more with that statement.
Jermaine,
I think Shawn touched on a lot of things. I think resources
Yeah.
that we probably might not have access to.
Yep.
And bring it to the table to help us expand and help with the goals that we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shawn touched on majority of the things that I think that can help.
Yep.
It's all about us coming together and collectively working together
Yep.
to accomplish the same goals.
Absolutely. And LaTreasa, before I have you answer that question, I want you, because again, there might be some people listening like, I don't see it. I mean, in my day to day, you know, I work in a very diverse community. I work in a very diverse office. I have, you know, minority friends. I don't see it. Just like I didn't see it. Can you share the appraisal story in California?
Absolutely.
Because I think this is a perfect example of what it means to have color be a difference in something pertaining to real estate. And I want you to
100%.
share that, but then also for those that are listening that that look like me, how can they support this movement and be a part of the solution?
100%. So there's over 100 cases
Yep.
of appraisal disparity at the federal level. So
Wow.
one thing a lot of people don't know about appraising is that we're managed by the federal government.
Yep.
So I could be an appraiser in Michigan, and I can also be an appraiser in California
Yep.
or Florida, or wherever it may be.
Yep.
I don't have to retest
Yeah.
because the federal government makes our rules.
Yep.
One of the things that happened during COVID is that there was a family in California that placed their home on the market and had put a lot of work into a beautiful home. And when they came out, this was a minority family, black family.
Yep.
When they came out to do the appraisal, their house appraised for $800,000, where they were under contract for $1.5 million.
Wow.
So they're like, "How is that possible?
Yeah.
Like we could be off that much."
Yeah.
When many houses around the area had done so.
Yep.
So what they did was they whitewashed their home, and what that means is that they took all their pictures off the wall.
Right.
They took anything that showed that they were a minority inside their home
Yep.
and removed it.
Yep.
Asked one of their friends that was Caucasian to stand in for them
Yep.
as the homeowner.
Yeah.
Had a second appraisal done.
Yep.
When the second appraisal happened, their appraisal went up over $800,000.
And then appraised for 1.6.
They appraised for 1.6 million.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Right?
That's insane.
Now, granted, appraisals are based on opinion,
Right.
but that's a big opinion.
That's a real big
That's
opinion.
a big
Yeah.
opinion.
This type of stuff is
That's
happening all over the country.
All over.
So it's happening all over.
And these are things you don't really hear about.
you don't hear about. I'll give another example. And this is something that a lot of times is not blatant.
Right.
People just don't know.
Yep.
Right? Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. People have their own views of what,
Right.
you know, good, bad, or indifferent, what minority looks like or what their culture looks like.
Yep.
Social media plays a big part in
Oh
that.
man.
Entertainment plays a big part in
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, a lot of those things happen. But another example on the commercial side is that in the Hispanic community, for example, a lot of times, you know, they use their yards as parking spaces because they have multiple generations living in one home.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? There was an appraisal that was in Texas, commercial, and it was a multi space. It was a let me think what the right word. So it was a strip mall,
Strip mall. Okay.
right? And so appraisal came out on a strip mall, and because inside of a traditional Hispanic strip mall, they kind of have like little booths inside,
Right.
and they use a lot of cash. You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
when the appraisal was done, they labeled it a flea market
Wow.
Wow.
versus labeling it a
strip mall.
A strip mall.
Right.
Wow.
Wow.
Huge difference.
Big
Yeah.
difference.
I'll bring it home. You'll see appraisals in the city of Detroit where they'll mention crime on the appraisal report
Right.
to have an impact on value,
Wow.
Wow.
but you won't see it in a Novi
Right.
or Brighton
Yeah.
or Clinton Township.
Yeah.
It's still happening
Right.
here at home.
Yeah.
So I say that to say that if you don't know what you don't know, then be open to have a conversation
Yeah.
to say what I don't know. I love these conversations.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give another example, not even relate to real estate. When I was in corporate world, one of my best friends was someone who was Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
And we were getting ready to travel, and we were riding together, and he said, we got to get to the airport 3 hours early. I'm like, 3 hours early? For what?
Right.
He's like, We just got to get there a little early. When we got there, we got ready to go through security. He said, just so you know, it's after 9/11. They're going to pull me aside. Okay? They're going, just so you know, when we go through security. And I'm like, how do you know that? He's like, it's going to happen. I can be a little slick with my mouth. He's like, stay calm. Don't ask any questions. But just be prepared.
Yep.
Sure enough, we go through security. He gets pulled aside. I'm like, what is going on here?
Just because he's Middle Eastern.
Just because it's Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
He gets pulled aside. That's why we had to get there early.
Yep.
I go wait at the gate for him. Of course, I'm fuming. Like, what is this about?
Yeah.
We get on the plane, and someone comes down the aisle and asks him again, what is his name? And I'm like, I'm just, to see it, and that's the point of the conversation. It's not even just about always a black person, right? To see my friend that I love and that my coworker get pulled aside just because of his name. And I said, why is this? He said, it's just my name. You know, he's like, he's an American. He was born in the United States.
Wow.
To get treated like that because of who he is, what he looks like, and because of his name.
Right.
Wow.
It just shows how much of these conversations need to take place.
Yeah, they do.
And it, to me, as a minority, it showed me too, like, I've never been detained at the airport.
Right.
You know? And so it kind of put myself in your shoes, Justin, you know, like where I had to be open to having conversations, and him and I have conversations. Like I called him after the bombings in Paris. And I said, as a Muslim, right? How do you feel about that?
Right.
These are the conversations that we've got to have, right? Because I'm not a Muslim.
Right.
And he was able to tell me from his perspective how that made him feel when these things happened and put a negative light on the entire culture or their entire religion. And so these are the conversations that are brought to the table.
Yep.
And these are the conversations, and these are the things that are happening right in front of us. Listen, I got a lot of things I got to continue to work on.
Yep.
But I'm open to know where I fall short.
Absolutely.
And that is the biggest thing, of knowing where you fall short. And so how do you be an ally? Is number one, have the conversation. Right? And you may be uncomfortable, and they may tell you some things that you don't know. I was the token in corporate America.
Yeah.
I'm not only a minority, but I'm a woman as well.
Yeah.
Only black female VP.
Yeah.
Fortune 500 company.
Yep.
Number one company in the world.
Yeah.
Right? So anytime there's a diversity event, LT can do it. Anytime there's a women's event, she can do that too. Anytime, we're going to speak at major black events, we'll send LT, you know? Well, you can send me, because I'll go for free, because I like to have a good time.
Yep.
But I say that to say, have the conversation and be okay with being in the room.
Yep.
Yeah.
Be okay with being a minority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sometimes people are uncomfortable being the only one in the room.
Yeah.
And I'll say this about Justin, what I really appreciate. Actually, I met Shawn at a Justin Ford event.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how I met Shawn. And so when I say God is so good, that's how Shawn and I got connected, was because of Justin.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Justin probably didn't even realize that.
Didn't.
We met at an event. I came to an event for Justin, and I met Shawn there.
Wow.
And literally the next day, me and Shawn were like
Locked
in.
I love it.
Yeah.
And that's where we have to start, of saying that whether you realize it's a problem, it may not be your problem, but when we lead with love and we're truly trying to make a difference, their problem is your problem.
Absolutely.
When Detroit is 72% minority, right? When the average child in Detroit is graduating with a 5th grade education, right? When there are, last year was the first year in over 60 years that Detroit had more homeowners than renters. This is not a black and white conversation. This is our community conversation. This is a humanity conversation. This is a humanity conversation. When you talk about, hey, you want to improve the city you live in, but you're not willing to have this conversation, that shows that we've got work to be done. And that's where you have an open mind to say, what do I do to push myself forward? And more importantly, how do I bring more soldiers with me? It is so much bigger than what we can even imagine, what the Black Expo and what the Black agencies are going to do. Because we want to bring people into the room to have a conversation. And it may be some conversations where we got to check ourselves too.
Yeah.
We're open to that.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
we're not perfect.
Right.
So it may be some conversations where we got to say, we weren't inviting to you,
Yeah.
or we looked at you different
Yep.
because of what you look like.
Right.
Or we didn't give you the chance
Yep.
to be open
Yep.
and share. And
Teach.
I'll say this. I'm glad that you said what you said at that event,
Yeah.
because that's where you were truly.
Yep.
And in order to be open and grow,
Yep.
we got to know where ground zero is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We got to know where
Yeah.
we can't dismiss and say, I don't want you. If I love you, Justin, I don't
Yeah.
want you to come in the room and feel like I can't say what I really mean,
Yeah.
because I can't help you grow
Right.
and I don't know where your heart is.
Absolutely. 100%.
So be honest and
Yeah.
be true to who you are.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, God will literally calm the storms
Yeah.
in those
Absolutely.
situations, because
Yeah.
so many times we got to put on an act
Yep.
and look our best.
Yep.
And as Beyonce say, wake up like this. No, you didn't wake up like that.
Right. Yeah.
That took work to get
Yeah.
there. And it takes work for us to get over this hump.
Yep.
Be true to who you are.
Yep.
Come open-minded, but be honest about where you stand.
100%.
But we have to,
Yep.
as minorities, be open
Yeah.
and comfortable with, we may not like what you say.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah.
And not to make you feel bad,
Right.
Yeah.
because we're all who we are based on our own experience.
Period.
Yeah.
And you can't know because you haven't been here, and I can't know because I haven't
Yeah.
been there.
Yep.
Be open to the conversation.
I love it. It's
Yeah.
like meeting in the middle and let's talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of talk, I know that we've already been here for an hour.
Oh my God.
And here's what I'll say, and I was thinking about this while we were talking. I think this conversation needs to be continued,
Yeah.
and I want to have you guys think about maybe doing this, on a regular basis,
Okay.
to where we can come to this table and keep this conversation going, because I believe it has to happen,
Yeah.
and it's necessary.
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Absolutely.
we could sit here for 3 hours, 4
Yeah.
hours,
Yeah.
5 hours.
And I'll say this to other agents, and it goes the same way. I think a lot of times people don't know what they don't know.
Yep.
So when they're going to work in Detroit and list a Detroit house as a white agent or something different from the client that they are going to help,
Yep.
do they know how to, what is good or what is bad? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So
What
it,
is-
c-
yeah.
it could be beneficial on both sides, because they just see,
Right.
we're just looking at the house, but the demographics of the
Right.
house on how that culture sees as good
Yeah.
may impact their view on what they see as value.
Yeah. There's an education process that definitely needs to be
100%.
had. So that might be another thing you could add to your teaching.
I'll think about it.
Well,
No, just joking.
Man, this is good, and I appreciate you guys so much for being here and
Appreciate
even
you.
this conversation, because I pray that those that are listening right now, something comes out of this that really speaks to the hearts of the people that are listening, and causes people to want to be a part of the solution,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's necessary.
Absolutely.
So I want to do two things. I want to pray, because I really feel led to pray. And then, Shawn, I want you to just share how people can get a hold of you when it comes to wanting more information about 100 Black Agents and even future Black Agent Expos.
Absolutely.
Let's pray. Lord, thank you so much, God, even for this conversation. I thank you for Shawn. I thank you for Jermaine. I thank you for LaTreasa, Lord. And I just pray, God, that you would just take this conversation today and Lord, let it touch those that are listening, Lord, whether minorities or non-minorities. God, we know that you created all people equal, and Lord, you desire unity. And I know, God, that the only way that we can see true change is coming together, like my sister just said, and to have conversations and to be able to listen, understand, and want to be a part of the solution. I just pray, God, for the 100 Black Agents. I pray, God, that you would use this opportunity, Lord, to make an impact, not just here locally, but all around this nation, Lord, and God, that you would use each person, Lord, connected to this movement, Lord, to bring change and to bring even education and awareness to those that maybe are unaware or not educated on this topic. And so I just thank you for this conversation. I pray that you would use it for your glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
How can people get a hold of you, Shawn, and learn more about 100 Black Agents?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, they can call me on my cell phone at 248-819-6800. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Detroit Mortgage Guy. And you can follow us at 100 Black Agents. That's 100 Black Agents.
Man, awesome conversation. Let's keep it going, honestly.
Absolutely. Looking forward to the
Appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Justin.
Thank you.
This
Thank
was so
you,
good.
Justin.
Guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode. Guys, if you love this episode, I want you to share this. Share this on your social medias. Share it with somebody that you feel really needs to hear this episode, and feel free to reach out. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear questions that you may have, and I encourage you to follow each person. I want you to follow Shawn. I want you to follow Jermaine and LaTreasa, and I want you to follow 100 Black Agents, guys. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Before I leave you with today, I want you to remind you that this episode is brought to you by my friends over at Next Door Lending. Next Door Lending is not just a sponsor of the show. This is my personal lender who all my buyers work with. They have over 600 5-star reviews, A+ perfect Better Business Bureau rating. And guys, these amazing loan officers over at Next Door Lending don't just give great products and services. They give great experience. And so if you are looking to buy a home, call my friends over at Next Door Lending. If you need to refinance your home, call my friends over at Next Door Lending. And if you're a real estate agent looking for a great mortgage lender, call my friends over at Next Door Lending today at 888-885-3667 or visit their website at nextdoorlending.com. There's two things that I always love to leave you with at the end of every episode. Number one is it's not how you start. What matters is how you finish. And number two, with God, all things are possible. God bless you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.